All right, this is the March 1st meeting of the Lunenburg Water Commission. The meeting being recorded for rebroadcast over Lunenburg Public Access. Why don't we start by Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. I currently have a hiccup on it.
Yeah, I forget sometimes.
Okay, we're going to go a little off script. We have a presentation that we're going to make this morning, or this afternoon, and we'll start with that before we get into our agenda. We'll start with you, Mr. Superintendent.
I just want to go a little bit over how this new facility took place, the new garage and everything, the site and everything. So it was many years ago. We started out with just going on site and just doing some basic things. And first it just started out, we were cutting down some trees. I don't know if you're anywhere there. We had a house up front. And so we just came in, and at the time we were going through, we were trying to do the expansion into Lancaster. And so we, mine were pretty much on that, not so much on the new garage thing. But anyway, so we came up here and just started cutting some trees. And John happened to stop by, and he came up with some, because he knows how to do all this kind of stuff. And so he came up and it's like, if I bring my little dozer up here, we can, cut in a nice little road so we can gain access out to the back area. So, which was great, and it really did. But as this thing grew further into it, and we started getting plans developed of how this building was going to be constructed, what kind of site work we needed, it was realized that the water district didn't have the equipment to do what we needed to do. So it was either we rent it or we find a way to get it. So John stepped up and kept bringing equipment. So he brought in his excavator, and in the end, I'm not sure the actual total number, but it had to be over 40,000 yards of material that was moved off this site. And everything that was moved off, it was his equipment that did it. I mean, he had his very large excavator and stuff. So just so also, the way this contract was designed for the building, it was the building and a 10-foot radius around the building. So everything outside of the 10 feet was done by the water district personnel with either John or his equipment. So I mean, some of the stuff that was done, the house up front, we tore that down. John tore it down with the machine, removed all the stumps. I mean, this whole property was full of trees. It had to be over 100 trees, 100 stumps that were removed. Water line was dug across 2A and into the building. And, the use of lasers. John brought his lasers. Sometimes his own guys would be here from his own regular crew. And so we'd set grades and do drainage and set catch basins and do all that kind of stuff. So we did drainage around the whole building. And then also the septic system out front, that was the water district bought the material, and John's crew, his own staff at SBZU Excavating came and installed the septic system. And everything I just said was there was no cost to the water district. The only cost that were there was the actual material cost. So we put in the catch basin, we bought the catch basin, and we put it in. So we've all known John for many years. Not only is he a commissioner, but he's also considered one of our friends. Because I've worked with him for over 30 years, and back when I used to actually do this stuff, me and John worked good together. So so without his help, I don't think this building would have even been completed. I think it would have came out that, hey, this is the cost of the building, and would have been there's no way we could do this. So I think by John donating all his time and help, he made it happen. So in the water district, I mean, we've had some really good commissioners. For one, Dave Rogers. I mean, he's
a jerk.
he's the financial guy. You could never slip anything past Dave. If you gave him the numbers, you better be able to sit there and justify those numbers, because he was going to figure out how you got there. So
You couldn't put a pipe in the ground.
you couldn't sneak anything past him. So, but anyway, there was other guys like Mark Flagg. I mean, he helped with taking trees, cutting them down, taking them out of here, because we had a lot of trees we had to get rid of. And then we got Mark Bursch. He did a ton of work. He did all the landscaping, all the grass, all the trees, all the shrubs. He did all the walkways. And same thing applies with him. I mean, he did all the work and labor for free. We just bought the stuff and he came and put it in. So I mean, we've had some really good guys, and in this case, like John, he devoted a credible amount of time and money, and everything he does is based on what's best for the water district. He doesn't. He looks ahead, and so I mean he's up for re-election this year, and I wish him the best of luck, and everything he does, I think his interest is what's water district's future. So
Thank you, Fran.
yeah, so I mean I just want to appreciate everything you've done. I mean you've done a lot, and we certainly appreciate it.
No, I want the water district to keep going the way it's going, the best it can, and we got a lot of stuff ahead of us that we got to get done, and there's a lot of money involved, so it's got to be done right.
So I've lived in Lunenburg my whole life.
Not yet.
Yeah, okay, I'm getting there. Lunenburg has dedicated certain areas in town. We have places like McNally Park, Fitzgerald Field, Ray Powell Field, the Joseph Bellata Meeting Room in the Town Hall. In the short time that I've been around here, I mention these because I knew the families and the people that gave so much to our community. Today I am honored to dedicate another place in our community to an individual that has given 26 years of service to this community as a water commissioner. In his tenure, he saw new wells, new water tanks installed, district expansions, improvement projects throughout the district, and the most recent, the headquarters here at Massachusetts Avenue. His time and commitment assisting with the construction of this facility was exceptional. His donations of site equipment, bulldozers, excavators, loaders, to assist with the site preparation and excavation for the project saved the water district hundreds of thousands of dollars in my mind. Along with his personal time spent installing the septic and drainage systems for the site. I'm proud to serve with Mr. John Esposito for the last 8 years, maybe a little more or less. And I look forward to serving more with him. His knowledge and conservative financial approach is an asset to the district. So on behalf of the Lunenburg Water District, I would like to thank you, John, for your contributions and dedication to the district and the community in it. And so on behalf of the Lunenburg Water District, I would like to dedicate this room at 496 Massachusetts Avenue as the John Esposito Conference Room. Congratulations, John.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your
Thank
service.
you. Thank you. Thank you, I really appreciate that. You guys really put a fast one over on me.
So you you had no idea?
Pardon me? No, I didn't know anything about it. Nobody told me, and you guys,
In the end, the plaque is gonna be right outside the door. That's just a
Template for now, so
Temporary.
Oh,
that we could
that's,
present it
Would
to
it
you.
be better in one of the bathrooms?
not a bad idea.
I was wondering why that picture you were hiding it with was crooked.
Yes,
And sideways?
yes, yes.
John, you didn't even notice that picture sideways, right?
Yeah.
no, I didn't
We
notice
didn't know
it.
if you'd even notice it if we didn't cover it.
I
but
didn't
we
notice
figured
anything.
we'd,
So it says the John H. Esposito Espo Conference Room, a dedicated commissioner who selflessly donated his time and equipment that made the development of this building financially feasible. The Water District will forever be grateful. 1997 to
Whenever it turns.
hopefully
years from
another.
Whatever. Well, I appreciate that very much. You guys
Well
really
deserved.
put a fast one over on me.
well deserved.
Well earned, John.
Thank
Yes.
you.
But I think you kind of underestimated.
Take your hat off if you're gonna be in there. All right? Take your hat off.
Underestimating the hundreds of thousands of dollars. I think it was more, we figured it out at the time that if we were gonna have to pay for it because of the prevailing wage, it was upwards of about $1 million worth of work that he did.
I agree.
Yep.
Yep.
And another thing, a lot of people around town, I think at the time, when they thought John was doing the work, that he was getting paid for it. He didn't get paid anything for it. The only thing I think the water district helped them out with was the fuel, which
Yeah.
they should have.
Yeah.
But, I mean, you're talking about $1 million worth of work, and I think, Franny, you have got to agree, this building probably wouldn't have been there
I agree.
if the site work wasn't done by John and thrown in, because we weren't gonna spend $4 million on a building.
Right,
Yep.
and
Yep.
that easily would have happened.
Yep.
Yeah, I
So,
agree.
all right.
I know.
That was a heck of
How'd
an
you get
office
here?
you had before.
Yes, yep.
If I could just add a comment or two. I had the good fortune of working with a great many commissioners, and to a person, and John certainly exemplifies this. What I most appreciated was he'd listen and he'd give you a decision. And it might not be what the consensus would be, but he thought about it, and he was, I've always said, that he's tighter than a fat guy's socks. And he always had the good thoughts for the district, and whatever it took to get that done, that's how he came out. I'd be less than candid with you if I didn't tell you he's about as subtle as a train wreck. But that's okay, I can deal with it. I just can't deal with wishy-washy people. So he always did whatever he had to do with the interest of the water district and the people that we serve. So it was an honor for me to work with him. And I as a commissioner, a co-commissioner, I always appreciated his candidness, and I want to publicly thank you, John, for what you've done for a whole bunch of people, in the district, because you always made decisions based upon what was good for the water district. So thank you very much.
I don't know what to say.
Nothing.
First time I've ever been at a loss for words.
Well, we appreciate.
Well, I
all
want to
that.
thank you all very much again, whoever was,
Thank
You
you,
know,
everybody.
It was all,
Everybody.
we all been talking about it.
Yeah, it was all good.
Well, before we even stepped in the building, we talked about doing this, so.
Yep.
It was set
well,
in motion.
thank you very
Well
much.
deserved.
Appreciate it.
Alrighty. Now we'll get on to our meeting. We're looking for a motion for the minutes of January 25th and January 8th.
All right, I make a motion that we accept the minutes of January 25th and January 28th.
February.
No, February 8th,
February,
I'm sorry,
sorry.
yeah, that's a good one.
Yep.
And February 8th.
I believe,
Now, we gotta figure out who was here.
I can approve on February 8th because I was here.
Yeah.
I approved that one, I signed it.
okay,
You can
second the
approve.
motion on that, and then all those in favor on the
25th.
January 25th?
Yeah.
Me and you, aye?
Yeah, aye,
Okay, we can sign those off.
okay.
And then we have warrants to review. While we're getting into reviewing the warrants, Christie, do you want to go over the review and vote to approve proposal for engineering services for lead and service line inventory and field program?
I think we had already kind of talked about this a while ago, how it's gonna be required by DEP by October of '24. So we went out, we got 4 proposals, Ty and Bond, Stantec, 120 Water, and Fussin O'Neill. They all basically were very close in price.
Just didn't see this.
But after review, Fran and I going through all the proposals, having meetings with all of them, we felt that the engineering firm Fussin O'Neill was the best option. They were gonna include going out for funding for the grant that's available for 100% principal forgiveness. But also, some of the equipment they were providing to do the GIS mapping was gonna be given to the district.
Correct.
Afterwards.
Yep.
So that was a huge benefit. So that's kind of where we we were at for all of them. So basically, they all came in just around 200 to 300,000.
Now, is that one estimate or one?
No, I got four proposals.
Okay.
They were all really close, but Fussin' O'Neill's came in at 253,000. And that included everything that we needed, start to finish. So, but after review, I think Fran and I had
Yeah, we all
talked, we
agreed.
agreed.
Yeah, because they had all the, if we needed to do a site work, you know, dig
Yeah.
something up.
Yep.
Prove the material. That was in their proposal. A lot of the other ones didn't have that. And they, like she mentioned, the equipment, the GIS, the mapping.
Mapping.
equipment,
The mapping's a
That's gonna be
big one.
used to develop this, and then when it's done, it's
Can you do
obviously
that
used.
one?
The GIS,
No, okay.
the way I see it, it's probably similar to the tax assessor map, but it dials you in, like if it's right here and it's underground and it's located,
Oh, yeah.
you're gonna come back to that 10 years
Exactly.
later,
Right.
and you go to that exact spot.
I believe that GIS will be in layers, that you can just layer it on top of.
Yeah.
And
So
Right.
eventually, once this thing's completed, then we can add a layer to the town's website. So if anybody wants to see, hey, where's the water main, and where's this, and what's there, and there's the water layer. I think it'd be huge. I mean,
And-
even if we weren't doing this lead thing, I'd
Right.
be pushing this.
And as part of all of it, it's all got the good potential of being 100% grant
Yes.
Yes.
forgiveness.
Right.
Yep.
We're gonna sign this one, I think.
Yep.
That's the 20.
I like free stuff, so,
Yeah,
you know,
we
I
just
think
have to put
that's.
it on, our annual, one of the articles.
And we're required to do the lead.
it's a
Part
mandatory.
anyway.
We have to
It's,
give it
yes,
done.
it's a mandatory from DEP by October of 2024. So included in this, they are gonna include the application for the funding, the proposal to DEP, and then the final submittal to DEP by October. So this is start to finish, does everything. So I just need you guys, if you agree, to, one of us has to sign it, Fran or I, and then that would just be included on the,
So this will be the approval to hire, use their proposal. That's the anticipated route. And nothing's approved until they pass the annual meeting.
Correct.
For the article.
yeah.
Okay. Okay, any discussion on this?
No, I've talked quite a bit about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's,
Yeah,
I mean, to get something for free and to be
Yeah,
able to
and
map out all of our
To be able
current
to
infrastructure.
incorporate the GIS into it is like getting like a little bonus on top of what we
Yeah.
have to do.
is that a guarantee, that free money?
Not guaranteed.
It's not
It could be partial
But some,
grants forgiveness, but it's definitely, like Mark mentioned, we definitely have to do it anyway.
yeah.
So
Right.
if we get half of it, then we're doing good. But the anticipated thing is we're gonna get full reimbursement for the
That's
whole thing.
what they,
That's
that's what they
anticipated.
have out there.
Oh,
Right.
They
so-
have right now that it's 100% principal forgiveness, but from talking to a few of the engineers, there is so little involvement right now or proposals coming to them for the funding that they are contemplating turning it into a grant, which basically, I guess,
Right.
flips, I don't know
Sure.
that side of it, but they said as far as we're going right now, continue with how we're doing it, you have to, there's specific wording that has to be on for the annual article. We do everything as is, if it changes to a grant, great.
Great.
That just,
Save the stuff.
yeah,
That'd be better.
yeah.
All right.
Okay,
Just a point of clarification, I'm just confused. The term was used, grant forgiveness. I don't know what grant forgiveness is.
Not grant
Sorry, loan forgiveness.
Loan forgiveness.
Principal forgiveness.
Principal
Thank you,
forgiveness.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
I just didn't understand, somebody used.
so,
As of
yeah,
right now, the district has, correct me if I'm wrong on some of this, the district has to go out and has to actually allocate the money right now. So we'll be on our annual article for the district to go out for $253,000. We go through the Mass Clean Water funding. You have to allocate the money, you do the project, and then there's 100% principal forgiveness. But because the engineers are finding in talks with DEP that people
Right.
aren't using it, that they could change it from the principal forgiveness to a grant.
I just didn't
So that's-
understand the term used, grant
right,
forgiveness.
yeah, no, sorry about that, yeah,
Okay.
be principal forgiveness. Okay, okay,
Yeah.
somebody wanna make a motion?
I'd make a motion to approve,
Fossil Neal.
huh?
The
Fossil O'Neill and to have Fran go ahead and sign that.
That's second.
For the lead service.
For the
Okay.
lead service, sorry.
Any discussion? No discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. John, did you have all the minutes?
Right there. Yeah, right here, this 25th, and I think Christie has the other two.
Yeah, we did the 20,
you
we did the regular
That's the
25th.
20, February
This is the
8th.
So that's,
Yeah, there should
you
be one
and, you and
more.
Matt need to sign
We already
that
did.
one.
We
Oh, on
already
the
did
back.
on the
Oh, look
back.
at that, I didn't know that.
There's a back page.
And then there was a.
This is the commissioner's report and the-
Executive session.
The
Yep.
executive session you have right underneath your mark, I believe. Underneath those minutes, right there. There's two of them. Nope, that's
Where?
February 8th.
It is, this is the one we're talking about.
No,
Nope,
that's a commissioner's report.
there should be a single page
I
that
lost
says
stuff.
executive session
Oh,
at the
look at
top.
that. There it is. Okay. I was just losing
That
paperwork.
one.
I gotta sign that one.
You do.
Okay.
I know we've been getting into a lot of paperwork lately, getting worse all the time.
Okay, so now we have, review and vote revised budget for Mass Ave water main replacement. Bottom sitting down.
So the original budget was in 2021 was 800,000 to do the job. The current budget now is 2.2 million, 2,214,000. I know it's insane and incredible, expensive, but my opinion is still that we gotta do it. I mean, we have too many main breaks there and
It's not,
we got options of maybe switching the pipe to something different, but I say let's, the status of it right now is that Mass DOT and waiting for our road opening permits for the road work. And then once that's completed, then we're gonna go out to bid. So who knows what the bids are gonna be? Hopefully it's much less than that, but we have to do the budget for do an article, appropriate the money for the budget.
and this is what the engineer brought to us.
And yes, and on the budget, we had a very large contingency, but I talked to the engineer quite a bit about it. And none of us feel very comfortable about eliminating that, because what if it does come in over? So we think by having it in there, at least we're covered, and with the intent of hopefully that the bids come in less than that, so. But I still think we gotta do it.
Yeah, I mean, we can't,
Not only us being tired of going there, all
the residents and
they're frustrated too. so.
the school had to get out early one day.
No.
I'd say we gotta move forward with the process and, hopefully the bids do come in less. It's a fairly big project, and it's on one of the main roads in town.
I look at it
so
quite
it's
a
not
bit.
easy.
It is a big project, and there's,
Yeah.
that also involves running a temporary line at first. You need to get services across the street. You need to go across the wetlands. It is a pretty big project, and we had just kind of even talked like maybe splitting it in half and maybe trying to do some of our own. It's just too big. It's just too involved.
Yep.
And while I have a heart attack at the number, that's even if we can get the pipe, to be honest with you.
Right.
So I think we have to prepare for the worst. I think it's a critical section of me living on Arbor Street.
Oh, so personal benefit, I
But
understand.
I just feel really bad for you guys out there in the freezing cold fixing it. But it's a nuisance, and it really we need to take care of it.
I agree, it's time.
So I'd
Okay.
be in favor of it.
Okay, and do we need to, we don't need to vote on that, because that's gonna be an article.
Yeah. Right.
So we're gonna go over the articles.
Just wanted to talk about it before we approved the articles.
Okey doke. Now we're on to approve the 2023-2024 budget, which we
So
all
these are
have
all
in
the
front of
final
us.
numbers that we've been going over for months. This just has all the,
Yep.
I just need you guys to approve it and initial a copy for me. But I plugged in the final number for the health insurance. I got that exact number. I think it ended up being I think it was 6% increase. I think dental stayed the same, or it was like a 1%. It was but
Okay. And our maintenance budget went up
yeah.
considerably.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
And chemicals.
how much did that go up? Can you tell me off?
Well, it's
Just-
275 to
Maintenance went from
450.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know if there was some added, you had the chemicals and stuff. Okay.
Well,
we
the
don't- we
chemicals
don't-
is a separate line. That one went up by 10.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The 10,000?
Yeah.
But maintenance is part of the electrical.
Yes.
Mainly electric.
Yeah, so that's where we got the big
That's
hit
where
on
the-
the
yeah.
maintenance.
Yep.
But yeah, it's everything.
Right.
You buy a valve, it's $1,000 where it used to be 400.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, hydrant used to be 1,800.
And you know, I can't for the life of me figure out why the reason for that stuff has gone up more
It's
than
still-
double when,
Well, it's supply and demand. A lot of stuff you
well,
can't
yeah,
get. so
I know,
price goes up,
but
so
it's,
Well, that's what I'm saying, even the pipe for the
The
price is
pipe.
crazy. It's,
it's out of
yeah.
control. That's yeah. COVID, hell, that's why this project wasn't done 2 years
Right.
ago. Because of COVID, couldn't
Yeah,
even do it.
do we need a motion on this?
Yep.
Mr. Chairman, before you make a motion on that, would you, for the edification of everybody here, would you give us what it was last year and what it is this year and some of the rationale for these things? You
I
read
would-
about this and you hear about it, but it'd be good to bring it encapsulated
Yeah,
as it pertains to us.
I would defer to break down to either the superintendent or the clerk
You
treasurer.
want to do it?
Sure, I mean, some of the major
Just read the top. What budget
Yeah.
last year, then the budget.
Yeah, the outstanding debt drop. Do you want the exact
No, no.
numbers or just?
So the budget was, last year was $1,525,407. This year, the total budget's $1,692,272. So some changes in the budget, we were losing some of the loan payments, the water tanks paid off. We have one more year on the water main replacement on Sunny Hill Road. And then the biggest increases was, as we mentioned, the maintenance budget, which went from $275,000 to $450,000. Chemicals went from $35,000 to $45,000. Yeah, retirement went up. Lot of little things went up. Normal
Yeah.
increases.
A lot of little
Those
things
were the
went
big
down
ones.
too, like I said, interest went down, administration went, that's the biggest thing is that electric going up,
Yeah.
200,000 is probably what drove.
that's,
Legal went up a little bit with
Yeah, we've
everything
got a
going
lot going
on.
on.
So in the end, it's probably $160,000 increase from last year, from budget.
Okay, and in terms of a percentage, how much does that equate to?
It's a good question.
10%?
Yeah,
Yeah.
10, less than 10. It was 1.5.
Yeah.
I've seen my average budgets go up for people 20% in the last 3 years. I've seen jumps in product between 20 and 50%. In some cases, over 100%. And so it's tough to really, when you say put a percentage to something, there's a lot of variables, a lot of different things. Some things go up substantially, some things go up just a little bit, and then some things drop. So
The only
but
reason I
overall,
asked the
yeah.
question is so that we can have a rough understanding of the things that we read about and hear on TV and the radio and what is happening to our country in terms of costs and here it is at home.
Oh, yeah.
And Woody.
It's about 10.5%.
It's,
yeah, when you gotta pay $10 for a dozen of eggs,
Right, I
that's
mean,
That's
crazy.
a clucking disaster.
What do you do? What do you do, lay in bed at night thinking about this stuff?
I think we have done well though on saving money on a lot of other things, but it's just something.
Well, you have to
we
if you
just
gotta
can't
spend it on
fuel.
something else,
You
know?
know,
Thank you.
Yep.
okay.
All right. Somebody got a motion for the budget?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to review the budget,
Approve the budget.
approve the budget. I mean.
Read that one right there, John. The one with your hands on, that one. Put the budget for 2023, 24.
Maintenance and operating budget.
That's what I got, 23, 24.
Okay.
Okay, we
Okay.
got it, the 23, 24.
Any discussion? I think we've already had that. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
You need a signed copy of these?
Oh, yeah, just put your initials on the
initial one. We had one
Please.
floating around that we all initialed.
Yeah, I'll take that or put it in there, please.
Yeah. There we go. Okay. Discuss and approve 2023 warrant for annual meeting. So everybody got a copy of the articles for the annual meeting?
Yes.
The first 5 are pretty much the same every year.
Pretty boilerplate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just
And then-
includes our,
And then we have 6 and 7.
which is what we just talked about. So Article 6 is allocating more money for the Mass Ave
Water
water
main.
main project.
Yeah.
And Article 7 is the $253,000 for
The lead.
the lead service line inventory.
Okay, so we've already reviewed all that.
Yeah.
Anybody have any,
So let me ask you a question before. What are we gonna do if this isn't approved at the meeting?
Which one?
Well, the money for the lead.
then what?
It has to be done, then the
We have
district,
to-
then the
we're gonna have
district
to-
will pay for
We're
it.
gonna have to find a way
Yeah.
to do it, but we won't be able to do any extra
We
stuff.
won't be able to do any of the loan
And then doing all
forgiveness.
the extra stuff, then I don't know if
It's-
we'll qualify for any of the forgiveness.
But are they gonna do it without getting paid?
No, the district will.
Well, yeah, we have to find a way.
But if we don't, if the money's not appropriated and we don't have it, how are we gonna get it done?
Well, it's all contingent upon getting an
Getting the vote.
appropriation.
But
Yeah,
if-
but it's mandated. The state mandate's gotta
Yeah.
be done.
Well,
They
we'll
don't
have
care
to,
if you
we'll
have
see,
the money or
we'll
not.
see how it
Hopefully-
goes.
Let's hopefully we don't have to cross that bridge.
Well, it's just
Basically,
something I wanted to bring up.
I guess
Yeah.
what's gonna happen next to the
Hopefully we
state,
let
if
the
for some
residents
reason,
know
if that does not
that
get
this
approved,
is,
the next thing the state's gonna do is gonna be like, okay, well, your due date to have this done is this, and it's not
It's
even a
October.
question, it's like, you need to prove that
yeah,
there's no more lead service lines.
Yeah,
yep.
So-
okay.
And to do that, the idea of proving there's no lead service lines is checking every water connection in the district.
Dig them all up.
Right, so it's not an easy task, so when you put that sum of $253,000 with inspecting every individual service in the town of Lunenburg or in the water district, it's quite a feat that needs to be accomplished.
Yeah, if we can't prove somehow definitely that the lead is not there, like ones that have been put in very recently, because we don't use lead for a long time, you have to dig every single one of them up and they gotta look at it and then bury it again. It's all just,
So it's pretty detailed for a mandate by the state,
yeah.
so, that's why that article's there.
This is
We have
peace.
this piece.
Yes,
I heard you mention the annual meeting. When is the annual meeting?
it is
March
March
25th.
25th
And what
at
time of day is it?
10 o'clock?
8 to 10 is voting, 10 o'clock is the meeting.
8 to 10 and 10 a.m. is the meeting.
Correct,
Is it here? Yep.
yes.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's, as soon as they approved the articles, then I can make my books and post and do everything.
Right, so
that's fine.
there's a book that's put out by the district every year that has the budget, and has the annual report, and has all the articles in
And it has
it.
these time frames in it?
Yep,
Yes.
yep.
Thank you.
It should, does the book have the meeting timeframes? I think it does.
Yeah,
Does it have the
yeah, because
voting?
it,
Does it have the voting and the meeting time frames?
Yep, on my, if you, at the very top of it, it'll say on it, the date, the time of the meeting is March 10th, March 25th at 10 a.m. Polling hours are from 8 to 10. So this will be, it'll be posted on all the normal sites. I think I have to do it in the paper, town hall, Facebook,
And this
website.
booklet you're talking about will have the agenda in it?
It'll have the warrant for the
It'll have the warrant.
articles.
Warrants?
Yeah, for the annual
That's the
meeting.
agenda, these
That's the
articles.
agenda.
Yeah,
Yeah,
There's no separate agenda.
no,
No.
this is all it is. It's the
this is
annual
it.
meeting.
This is the
These are
only thing that can be
articles.
discussed at the annual meeting, is the
These.
articles as we approve them.
Just the articles, nothing else?
Nothing else.
Nothing else.
There's nothing that can,
So what
once,
voting?
The voting is from 8 to 10,
then
and
the
that
articles.
article number 1 is to choose by ballot the following officers: moderator for 1 year, commissioner for 3 years. So from 8 to 10, people come in, they vote, then at 10 o'clock, the meeting starts, and typically we bypass that one until the voting is all counted. We vote on all the other articles, and then the commissioner and moderator is.
Thank you for
is-
explaining it to me. I had no idea how it worked. Thank you so much.
okay, so, and then, so we had, Article 2 would have been acceptance of the reports of the district officers. Article 3 is appropriating the money for our annual budget. Okay?
Yeah.
Article 4 is to authorize the treasurer to borrow the money in anticipation of the revenue that we will receive to fund the budget. Article 5 is something that we've been doing every year, taking $50,000 from the water enhancement account and putting it into repair of water mains and for new installation and repair projects for the district. Article 6, and all these will be posted, right? The
Yep.
articles,
Yep.
the articles
The whole
will be
thing will be
posted. So Article 6 is the supplemental money that we're gonna need because we've already appropriated money for the Mass Ave water main replacement. Article 6 is for the additional funds needed based on the new engineering estimates for the Mass Ave main replacement. Article 7 is for the, somewhere in here it says $253,000, I think.
It doesn't, on that.
Okay, but it will in the motion.
Yep.
And those are the only things that are discussed at the annual meeting.
Right.
Okay, once we approve these articles, then it's voted in, it's locked in, there's no adding an article or anything else that can be brought up at the annual meeting. So, with that full explanation,
I would make a motion to approve these articles for the annual meeting.
I second that.
okay, no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so this is a slate of articles, we don't need to sign this.
Is there one with a signature on it?
No, can you sign?
We can
Yes.
sign right next to our name.
Nope, this is just right here. Yeah.
Here's what John signed next to your name. We'll figure it
Did you
out.
put the maintenance and operating budget, the one you signed?
I put it in there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, all these will go in there.
Okay, perfect. That's just for you guys to read, you don't have to.
Isn't there a line from the sign?
Just next to the name.
Yeah. Okay. That's warrant.
And that's it?
And then we have the commissioner's report floating around. Everybody kind of review that. Any comments
check
or
it out.
changes to that? Forward those. That will also be posted in the annual report.
Yep, that'll be in the book, so you got,
Yep.
we're gonna start working on the book pretty quick now that everyone's approved. so.
Yep.
So,
Do we need to make a motion on this or anything?
No,
no,
it's
it's
just
just, it's not, it's just a summary of things that are going on, that's happened in the past year. So if there's something else we need to add or subtract. we
Or
can
take
go
out.
through
Yeah,
it.
no,
Whatever you
looks,
wanna do.
there's a lot going on.
All right, then we had Commissioner Superintendent additions.
Nothing really, just to let you know, I'm working on figuring out pricing for Rolling Acres. I wanna do that. We'll do it in a multi-phase project, but that'll be us doing the work.
Are we considering shortly, buying any pipe for down there before the price?
Yes, actually, I
price
called for
goes up?
pricing.
Do they think the price is gonna go up or go down?
They said it's kinda holding steady, so. So right now, I was thinking phase one, which would be, from Lancaster Ave up to Meadow Lane. I'm gonna guess around 100,000. For that was 1,600 feet, just under 1,600 feet.
Hydrants and all that stuff
There
too?
was 2 hydrants up to there, yep, valves,
No, we're not gonna use the old hydrants.
nope.
No.
We're gonna replace
The
those.
new gate valves and everything?
New gate valves, everyone, yep. Got new saddles for the houses.
And what's in there now for pipe?
Transite pipe.
Okay,
It's,
that's all I wanted to
Some
know.
kinda different kind of stuff.
Yeah, I didn't know if it was ductile line or
No.
what we were gonna do with it if we took it out and.
Yeah, I'm not gonna take it out, it's all pretty deep and we're gonna stay either beside it or go above it.
Okay,
Smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause we wanna leave it on, that's.
Yeah, we gotta leave it on.
Till
Yeah.
we put it in, so.
So that $50,000 that we appropriate at every annual meeting goes into a fund for projects such as, we, a few years back did Maple Parkway. We did it in-house.
Did it
So
self-help.
it's, all the employees here, replaced an aging main, we didn't have to pay prevailing wage, and it was a significant saving to the district when the district employees can do some of these replacements. Unfortunately, we discussed it to have the district employees do the Mass Ave
It's just
jobs.
not feasible.
It's not feasible, it's just way too
It's
large
too
of a
big of a
project, so,
prevailing wage on these jobs raises the price of the job up 40%.
yeah. So having anything that we can do in-house with the district employees is a significant savings to the district and helps them, they learn a lot and they do a great job when they do them. So,
One addition I have, and this is, I don't even know if I want to bring it up, but I heard from a couple different pieces on the Mr. O'Brien Howard Street project, that he'd been to the couple of the houses and asking them to sign some sort of release about the water main, saying it's going in, and if you sign this, he can make sure that they get water or something to that effect. So I just want to be
Recently?
Recently, just want to be clear that there's been no decision made on that whatsoever as of right now by
We're
the
gonna
water
have to
department.
talk to him
Just
about
for
that.
public knowledge.
Yeah.
So if someone's soliciting to that, it's not true.
Yeah, if he is doing something like that, I recommend that anybody that is approached, come to the district and
Yeah.
ask, and see if anything's legitimate.
Yeah, because
The only thing that I could think to is, there's a percentage of takers or of residents when you're going to expand the district, you
Right.
need approval from.
correct.
But I don't know if he's trying to do that ahead of time or how.
I don't know the
how.
exact details of what
Right.
he said. It's just, and like I said, this is third party hearing, so I
Right.
don't want to say he's doing anything wrong. But I just want it for public knowledge
Right.
that there's been nothing decided as of now.
Yeah, and it's not, whatever he's doing is not.
It's
tied.
not tied to the water district, correct?
So
Okay.
just that's all.
Okay. We got anything else?
Nothing that I know of on my
Okay.
part.
Can I make a comment on one of the things that's gonna be saving us? And that is in a year and a half to 2 years max, some sizable debt will be retired. And that is by design. Because when we talked about all of this, we said, we've got to marry this up. So we'll have a year or so that we'll be paying for it. And that will enable us to lessen the load somewhat, and to do what we have to do in terms of these other expenses.
Right.
Now, having said that, I don't want anybody to walk out of here saying, well, we'll have enough money to do everything that we want.
In a perfect world, maybe.
It's just a smart business move. Excuse me. The other thing is that we'll have to really sharpen our pencil and do some negotiating with financing these projects, because we've got to keep our cash dry, and there are times that it's good to borrow money and not so good. And I think that we hit the home run with this building, because it was what's the interest rate?
It was really
Oh,
low.
it's very
Yeah, it's
low.
on 2.
Yeah.
We got, special
too?
funding on that.
Yeah.
2%.
Yeah.
Okay? So the point is that the commissioners really looked long and hard at this, and they were trying to do everything they possibly could to make sure that it was financially feasible and we did the right thing. So it's just a continuation of this. So
Yep.
I just want people to understand that as they leave.
If they've been at the old facility, they should definitely understand that, because to try to operate and do some of these upgrade projects that we're doing so well at saving the district money out of the old building, this was everybody's office, the space that you're in right now.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
This is what we had. This was our conference room, Fran's office, the clerk treasurer's office, and it just was not conducive to functioning to do
Served
large
its function for
projects.
many years.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got our money's worth out of that building.
All right, we have anything else from the board or the superintendent?
I'm good.
I'm good.
Okay. We started, but any more public comment? Yes, Ms. Pease.
Joan Pease, 11 Winter Green Court. First of all, I want to congratulate Mr. Esposito. That's quite an honor, and thank you for all that you've done for the town. That's very nice. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So thank you for that. I want to, before I start, I want to make a clarification. I understand that the public has no input into approved minutes, but I was concerned reading one old minutes where it said Joan Pease was concerned about the Woodland Roads. If I speak as a personal citizen, I will always preface it with I'm speaking as a personal citizen, but Ms. Turkington and I met yesterday for an extended period of time with the Woodlands trustees. And when I speak to you as the Woodlands representative, I am not speaking as Joan Pease. Nothing I say hasn't been approved by all of the trustees in extensive discussions ahead of time. Nothing I hand you in writing hasn't been approved by all the trustees. So I'm speaking today in my capacity as the Woodlands representative, not as Joan Pease.
I took it that way, and
Okay, I
I'm
just
sorry if the minutes,
That's okay, I just wanted to make that.
Well, for my clarification, for doing the minutes, so when you come here, so the minutes, I
Yes.
shouldn't have said, I said that you
Say-
needed to
say-
speak as a Woodlands representative?
I am the Woodlands representative.
yes, so it would
I am
be,
not speaking as a personal water user.
Okay.
So you consider named
Okay.
as a Woodlands
As
representative.
Woodlands
Perfect.
representative,
Perfect.
okay.
right.
Thank you.
And then just,
Okay.
if the point comes where you do have a personal,
I will
just,
qualify that.
there you
I'm
go.
very
That's fine.
careful about
Okay.
those things.
It's a real gray
I know,
area and it
but
happens.
I don't
but-
want to be,
Yep.
it's not my personal thing.
Yep.
I am
Okay.
reading you today a letter from the Woodlands trustees,
Okay,
okay? And I will give you copies of Woodlands trustees.
okay.
March 1st to the Lunenburg Water Commissioners. Dear Water Commissioners, the Hickory Hill Landowners, Inc. has shared the results of their water testing with the Woodlands Village. And they have also shared the letter their attorney, Scott Erickson, has written to the Water District. The Woodlands trustees are now concerned that the Lunenburg Water District's long-standing practice of annually flushing the Hickory Hills well by running the fire hydrant on their easement at the Woodlands has created a toxic PFAS waste site in the soil under the area of the well drainage. The Woodlands is making the following request of the Lunenburg Water District based on this concern. 1. The Lunenburg Water District will cease the discharge of any contaminated well water onto the Woodlands land immediately. 2. The Lunenburg Water District will contract with a certified engineer or environmental company to test the soil directly under the historical well discharge area and to test other soils where no well water has been discharged on that easement. If the soil under the well discharge area is found to have elevated levels of PFAS and other contaminants beyond the levels of the background soil tested in the other areas that the Lunenburg Water District does not use for drainage, we're asking that the Water District take responsibility for remediating the contaminated area used for well drainage in a manner that is approved by the Massachusetts Environmental Department, the Lunenburg Conservation Commission, and any federal authorities governing such toxic cleanups. Thank you for your time and attention to this serious environmental and health concern. Joan Pease, Woodlands representative to the Lunenburg Water District. And I also have here an article from the Science of Total Environment, which is a scholarly journal, and it talks about the difference between background PFAS caused by rain, because there are PFAS everywhere caused by rain. And certainly we have no desire to put that load on the Water District. That would have nothing to do with the Water District. Thus, the ask for 2 different soil samples, one under the drainage site and other samples, as long as it doesn't come back exceeding the background that is found everywhere, we have no problem. If it comes back exceeding it, and this article also says that one way that PFAS are contaminating soil is by irrigating soil with PFAS water. And it's our understanding that it's been over a decade that the Water District has been draining water on the same site. And so we're asking that it be tested for PFAS. If it meets the level of a toxic waste site, we're asking that it be cleaned up.
Okay,
Thank you.
Thank
thank
you.
you very much. Thank you, guys. Copy that. If anybody wants to view it, or are there multiple copies?
Of the
Yeah.
letter. I only gave you one copy of the article.
Okay.
Thank you so much for letting me speak.
We can just review it. We will take the article and stuff, and I'll put it all in here, and we'll,
I'll
yeah,
do that.
and then we can just review it for future. All right, is there any other public comment?
Yes. Are you with Joan?
Is it pertaining to the same subject matter? Okay, a different subject matter? Whichever wants to go first.
My name is Sharon Jordan. I live at 77 Burridge Street. And I was here at the meeting on February, I think it was February the 8th, when the representative of H2 Properties appeared here to talk about the development that they want to do in the expansion of the water district at 110 Burridge Street. So since that time, at that meeting, I heard a few things said that did not, were not the same as my recollection. So I did a little research. I have some real concerns about the level of contamination on that property and the two wells nearby, one of which is mine. And I had a question. Has the map, Fran, that you drew about the potential expansion changed since that meeting?
Nothing, no,
It's the
no.
same.
I mean, I only drew that up just as an idea, reference idea.
Okay, understood.
Yeah, they would have to propose a map and full boundaries definitions if they were going to
Yes.
come to the district to expand it.
So what I have here is, I brought copies for, I hope everybody, I tried anyway, of the petition that the developers have sent to the people living on Burridge Street that would be part of this proposed expansion.
one more then? Thank you.
got it. And I would like to say, I don't, like I said, I did a little research on the history of this project, and I learned some things that I did not know, even though I've lived there for 20 years. First of all, the DEP, well, let me put it this way. This petition says that the reason for this expansion of the water district near the Penniman's property is that the Penniman family inherited the issues that have arisen from contamination in a well in the area. I find that very misleading. The Pennimans did not inherit the issues. They are not the victims in this case. There was septic sludge that was dumped on that property during the time that the Penniman Sewer Company owned it, and that includes Scott and Linda. And furthermore, the dumping continued there until the mid-'80s, when the DEP said, you gotta stop the dumping. And then, a few years later, when they did start to clean up the septic sludge, they discovered drums of industrial waste that were buried on the site. They were required to remove those drums, and several of them tested positive as toxic waste, industrial waste. I did not know this when I was here at that last meeting. I'm very concerned about that. My ask is just that people need to be aware of what they're being asked to vote on with this petition. It's not just a simple question of, oh, let's get more people into the water district. I'm all in favor of public water, absolutely. I think it's a public good. But I think that there's a lot more to this petition than would meet the eye. And I would just ask that there be open, public discussion, and not just with people who are already in the water district, but for the town. This is a town-wide issue, where there's an opportunity to hear what the project entails, and to ask questions before these folks ask for and are granted a special meeting by the water district. I think that everybody in town would be affected by this and needs to know. So that is my request.
I've talked to Scott and his wife last year sometime, I don't remember when it was, and I haven't seen anything from the DEP about the cleanup over there, but what the both of them told me was, now this is only what they tell me, I'm just passing on a message, that the DEP has approved the cleanup of that whole area. It's not contaminated anymore. That's what they say to me. I can't prove that. I don't know, because they're just telling me what they're telling me, that the DEP has approved that subject. It's been cleaned up according to their rules and regulations, and That's all I can tell you. I don't know any more than that.
It has not been finally approved. It's still in an interim situation.
Okay.
They call it temporary solution.
See, I didn't know that.
Because there is no permanent solution. Well, like I said, I didn't know a lot of this myself. We were never told about this. Maybe twice in all the years that we've been there has there been testing. They have given us these little activated carbon filters that we use to replace our sediment filter. I think they've given us maybe 10 overall these years. But when I went and I looked at the DEP filings, it was very, very troubling. And, you know, this information needs to be made public. There needs to be a presentation, and people need to know that what the developer is proposing is to expand the water district to build a subdivision, 25 houses plus a complex for an over 55 community. That is a really big deal. Plus they want to put in a road.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there's no question that, in my view, if the water district approves this and everybody's sort of relying on every other board and commission in town to control it or even stop it, that's not very reliable. As you all know, and as I know, being a former commissioner, once a project has met all the regulations, all you can do is put some conditions around it, like, you know, you have to use this size pipe, or you have to put up these sorts of, you know, wetlands barriers or whatever. But if the water district approves this, it's going to be a really big deal for the town as a whole.
Yep.
So I just ask that there be a public meeting about it.
Now, I think, you tell me if I'm wrong, Fran, before we can approve that water line going down there, this has to go to the zoning board? Has to go to the
No, for like I said, so I 100% agree with you. All your concerns here, they're very legitimate. And I'll just, you know, like stay in the lane here of what we can do here at the water department. I think what your concerns are well beyond the water department. I mean, this is a good stop by all means, but I think you should maybe talk to the selectmen or something like that, because there's only so much we can do here. And like I say, I understand what your concerns are, and they're very legitimate. When it comes to some of the stuff with the DP and all that other stuff, it's not tied to the water department. That would be Board of Health. That would be this. All we can do here in this, and like I explained to you last time, is expand the district. Yes, no, why? Not disagreeing with your reasons. They're fantastic, but just remember your limited audience is here.
But that's the whole point, right? I mean, if the water district voters are not fully informed about the consequences of this vote, it will become a very big issue.
I couldn't agree with you more.
This is the only place, I think, to really say, no, not gonna happen.
Now, I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of discussion
Sure.
before we make a decision.
If he presents his information and he's on the agenda for the next meeting.
Yeah.
He did it, yeah.
Oh, he is? Okay.
He just called today to request to be.
So when he's on the agenda, I mean, so he's gonna submit his information, and if he has the information as the state legislative acts calls for,
Yeah.
then you have to call a special meeting.
Right.
Okay, so to call that special meeting, then we get the newspapers out, then you get public, as she requested. And if we need to, we have a public meeting, a hearing, or whatever, maybe get to do it at the high school, whatever you wanna do.
Ken,
But that's when it'll come out and do their thing, because you guys do not have the authority to say, no, we're not doing it.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. We
Correct.
don't.
I totally understand.
And I think the information that you get from the DEP, that should be very public. Like, you know, once again, I didn't really know this either. You know, I never really looked into it much, but it sounds like there's a lot of information that you have there that if this does come to fruition, that it should be broadcasted out there so everybody fully understands.
I'm just saying, that should happen before the water district special meeting votes on this proposal.
can we,
I would agree with that.
can we request the paperwork from the DEP saying that that's a clean site?
Of course, public record.
I mean, we should call him, the developer, and tell him at the next meeting to come in with the paperwork that we need to see that site has been thoroughly cleaned and it's been approved by the DEP.
It's all right there
Right.
on the DEP's portal, which is how
It
I
is.
found it.
Perfect.
There are six RTNs, release transaction, something devices on that one piece of property. Six.
But I can't believe that he would buy a piece of property that's contaminated.
Can we maybe charge Fran to call DEP and see if they have any concerns as it would relate to us supplying water or putting our public water supply in that area?
Okay, I can ask, but
We just-
they're gonna
they-
push to get it to happen.
Right.
Well, and
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
typically, they, you know, if you have a contaminated site or, you know, when the water went around Hickory Hills because of the contamination, it was a push to do it because it was a solution to the existing, but those were all pre-existing residents.
Right.
This is not, this is open area. I don't know.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
I don't know if I would buy a house built on the old dump down on Townsend Harbor Road, so I don't know if I'd wanna live in a house
Yeah.
over an old contaminated site either.
But see, the other thing they had told me was that's a 10-acre site. Tell me if I'm wrong, ma'am, if that was a 10-acre site that was contaminated.
I
That
think
site
it's
has
10 or
been divided off from the original 50 acres or whatever. So now they're only
it's next
selling.
to it.
They're only selling 40 acres, but it
No,
abuts.
he was
He
gonna buy
said
the
he was gonna
whole-
buy
He's buying the whole thing.
Oh, okay.
And then he's
All right.
buying, must be buying the responsibilities.
Things have changed since I talked to him
Yes,
then.
that's what he expressed to me,
Yeah.
doing that,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's what he expressed about the
Yeah.
whole
So
thing.
I just, what I would like to see is that the water district takes steps to inform their members before the special meeting occurs.
I 100%
You
agree.
know, so, and I don't mean just posting it on a bulletin board somewhere or putting it on the website. It's as wonderful as the website is. What if I miss it? What if I just happen not to see that the special meeting or the open discussion before that has been scheduled? I mean,
I think
it has to
the
be
thing
that way.
you should probably do is get in contact with with some of your neighbors and bring them to our next meeting when he's gonna be
I
here.
think it'd be, yeah, the more people you can get to come to that
And
next
any-
meeting.
As many as you can.
Okay.
Any information that you have that you could get copies of to bring that would be a matter of public record when they're submitting at our meeting.
The file is this big
Yeah.
in 2 weeks.
All right, well, he has to answer the questions to prove to you that it's not contaminated.
So how about if she gets the neighbors
Yep.
and we get the newspaper, the Ledger here again, so
Yeah.
whatever's discussed, we can get it in the paper.
Yeah.
Yep.
Get.
Can we get a copy of those, that thing you got from DEP, or can we get that our
Oh,
own?
I can send it all to Christie.
It'd be
Good
easier
idea.
to have her
Yeah.
give it to.
Yeah.
Yeah, just give it to Chrissy, we can copy it or whatever, all right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, ma'am.
Yes, Bobby Turkington, 110 Royal Fern Drive. I have a question from the Woodlands Committee relating to the Hickory Hills well. I'd like to know or they would like to know, the timeline for applying for the SRF.
State revolving fund.
Fun, yeah.
It's, it would be, typically you apply in August. There's a deadline in August.
Would that be of this year then?
Well, this one's all tied to the pilot study, so we can't really apply until we do the pilot study to know what we're applying for.
So it would be applied for after the pilot study was completed?
Correct. Is it okay me talking about this stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, it's all timeline
public
stuff.
information?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all timeline stuff. I mean,
yeah, okay.
Before we do that, in your opening remarks, you indicated your affiliation with what group?
The Woodlands.
okay.
Well, are you here representing the trustees, the board of directors?
No, I am not. We have a Woodlands Committee that's interested in discussing information about the Hickory Hills well.
Right,
And we're just a group of residents.
uh-huh,
And one of the residents asked this question.
I see.
And since they knew that I was coming to the meeting, they said, would you just ask the commissioners about the timeline?
Yeah, the concern I have as Joe Citizen, and I think it's fine when people get together and talk about things, it's sometimes difficult to ascertain who you represent, what the agenda is, and what is the auspices of the discussion. I mean, so I want to make sure I understand who is asking for this, and to make sure that everybody understands that it's not the board of directors, and not that it's not good.
Right.
Well, this helps me too, because I don't
Right.
understand, because I apologize if I did my minutes saying it was you when it's the board, but you're coming here saying it's you, not a board member. So,
Okay.
Woodlands resident asking the question about the timeline.
Appreciate
The
it.
other point I would like to make, and I think it would be of benefit and help for everybody, is to resurrect a procedural agenda if someone wants to expand the
Upon
water
a-
district
Oh.
into another area. I'm sure there are, I know there are rules and regulations and that sort of thing. So I don't want anybody to leave here thinking that somebody can make an arbitrary and capricious decision that they're gonna do this. There are certain rules, regulations, and very strict procedures that must be followed. And it's all part of a process. So I don't want anybody to think that you wake up someday and say, oh, we're gonna have 25 houses. That's not the case. There's a whole thing that has to go through.
I apologize if I implied that. I know that that isn't.
No, I think, well, the last meeting, we went over a lot of those.
Yeah.
Yes.
No.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
So, hold on, I'm sorry.
Mike?
Just one at a time.
This,
Oh, I thought
Are you, is there any
I
more?
have one more question.
Okay, thank you.
yeah,
So when will you apply for the state funds for the Hickory Hills well?
I wouldn't think we could give a
August.
definite date on that, but the goal would be August.
There's different methods of applying.
I'm sorry, you said for the Hickory Hills well, what do you mean, the treatment plant?
Yes.
Okay.
So, there's different methods to put that well online. We went with the most financially
Prudent.
prudent way to do it. So there are methods that we could go to and get a grant to put that well online. So we went through the method of the pilot study to do it the most financially responsible way for future operation of the well. So if we do the pilot study and we do the long-term test, which apparently we're backing off from, then we can determine the best method, the best treatment size and everything that you could run it longer and more financially feasible. So we could go run down there and slap the treatment plant in there tomorrow, but it's not the best way for future expenses. So if you go do it and you did it wrong, it costs you a lot more money to operate than down the road. So we're going through the method that we do the pilot study first, we determine the best method for treatment, and then we're gonna apply for the funding. And typically that was, I think it was August 15th was the deadline that you had to submit your funding for the state revolving fund. So when you get the state revolving fund, there was different ways they fund. It was either principal forgiveness, grants, or just very low interest loans. You don't know what you're gonna get until you actually apply for it. But all the funding, this last funding for the state revolving fund, pretty much they all went for PFAS, for treatment, water treatment, so. So
PFAS,
you do,
yeah.
if whatever decided to go a different method, then we could apply for this year.
And we're on the early end. The PFAS is becoming more and more prominent. It's in the news every day. More and more people are gonna be going after funding for it. We're on an early end where we could get the best return on funding for us. Down the road, there's gonna be so many people looking for PFAS funding, there's gonna be less of it available. That's our anticipation.
And I do not anticipate funding available if you went for New Source.
No, correct.
New Source would not get
They
that.
would, the funding is, they're looking at it more, I believe, for treatment of existing
Yes.
than for development of a new source, which would have a great chance of needing treatment anyway. Because
This
there's
is
PFAS everywhere.
low interest and loan forgiveness, correct?
They have
Yes,
different ones. yep.
Different ones. It all depends. It's what's available at the time we apply, but if we don't do the steps to prepare to apply for this, then we're gonna miss the chance at
Right,
the savings.
but I just clarifying, my understanding is it's low interest loans with the possibility of principal forgiveness. It is not grants.
or grants.
Or grants.
Or grants.
Or there are also grants.
There's also,
They're
we need to present them the package first is what we're doing. And once we present that, then we can be told what we're eligible for.
Gotcha, thank you.
Okay.
And you're hoping for August 15th as a date?
That's kind of the goal we've been working on.
Yeah, that's be difficult to meet this year because of the
Yeah.
cloud study, depending how long it takes.
Yeah.
Very, very unlikely it'll be this August.
It really depends. It might not be this year.
This young lady would,
I
Alright.
forgot I was gonna ask. My name's Lynn Walsh, I live at 93 Boyle Farm. I am here just as a citizen. I'm very interested in what's going on over with the water at the Woodlands. So just clarification, because I'm out talking to different people and I wanna make sure I understand this. So when you guys are gonna test the water, it comes out of the hydrant over there by the lake, right? And it's gonna run 200 gallons per minute?
The exact method, that was the method we proposed. The exact method of the study is going to be modified. We don't have any of that information back yet.
Okay, because that was my concern. If the water was gonna be running out of that hydrant, which is right near the water, that's where we go, people go to use the boats, to swim and
Yeah.
things like that. So that's where I'm starting to get concerned. How is that really gonna affect our use?
So we're working with a professional engineering firm. They work with DEP. So they are developing a plan that DEP will accept. Once we get into that, then we will go to the local boards as needed and present our plan. And that's really the process, and that's where it is right now. It's in between the engineer and DEP right now, and then once we have some sort of an idea, then we'll go to the local boards as needed.
Because like what Joan said with the soil, you know, with the, whatever's in that soil, how are they, so that's gonna run out, how are they gonna, are we gonna get an answer to that for the soil? Like, will you guys look at that and do soil testing, or is that something you guys
We're-
decide after we leave?
I would assume
The difference between what's in the lake and what's in the well is small. It's 20 to 28. So
I
we're
believe.
not talking a huge difference.
Right, but I believe we'll bring all this information to our engineer, and they're gonna come back to us with something.
I don't believe Lynn asked about the lake water. I believe she asked about buildup in the soil for
Right.
several decades of running that hydrant.
That's a-
And-
Yeah, that's not
and-
true.
and
You
I
need
wanna
to
make
stop
it
saying
clear-
that.
And I wanna make it clear that until recently, we didn't even know there was PFAS, neither did you, no one.
I'm gonna clarify this whole issue. We, as the water department, are bound by rules, and we are basically governed by DEP. We don't just get to do what we want. We are regulated by this higher authority, and we follow those regulations. We don't just get to turn things on, shut things off, move this, PFAS levels everywhere. It is defined, so we don't get to make this decision. We will take these concerns, appreciate them. We will talk to our legal counsel, and we will talk to the DEP to make sure that we are in full compliance with everybody. And hopefully that will address any of these issues. I understand your concerns, they're legitimate. We will make sure that we are doing the right thing according to this law that governs us.
And I want to make clear that no one feels any of this was done on purpose. Because it's my understanding, until recently, you didn't even know there were PFAS in the well.
PFAS is a newer thing, but
It's a
hopefully,
new thing, so I
hopefully that,
understand that.
hopefully that, eases your concern. That,
Yeah.
and if you have any extra concerns, please, I appreciate you coming.
Yeah.
But those are how this is done.
Up until the last year, we only operated that well once every 5 years.
Yeah.
Because you have to run it every 5 years to keep its availability as a source. So we ran it and we did testing. That's,
Right.
this particular case, we ran that well to put it back online until we got the PFAS. Because we were getting very close to the manganese levels to be acceptable for drinking water. The PFAS kind of squashed that.
Right.
Mrs. Pease, is that the only site you tested?
We didn't test any sites.
No, the lake, the
Okay,
I'm
the
not
lake, all right, the
involved.
lake tested. Do
The
you know if
Woodlands-
that's the only site that they tested?
I don't know, I'm in from the Woodlands,
Yeah.
Mr.
All right.
Esposito,
What ab-
I'm not a Hickory Hills.
What
man.
what about the brook on the other end of,
Malpas?
Malpas, I don't know.
no, the other, over by Peninsula, Highland Road?
I can't answer those.
Well, no, I'm just asking you. I'm
I don't
just gonna
know,
tell you,
because I
maybe you
don't.
could ask them, or maybe they're
Well,
gonna.
no, they might bring it to us, who
Yeah,
knows?
they're bringing it to us. I mean, once again, we're regulated and bound by these rules.
But no, but what I'm saying is, there's water coming in from that lake in every direction. Comes in from all the rainwater runs down that parking lot of yours,
septic system
runs down the
that causes it.
hill, runs through that culvert where we pump our water. I mean, you can't
Didn't their
expect
water
us to
supply
just
equalize?
say that
Yeah, the
all the
water's equalized.
PFAS in there is coming
The
from
lake
that
has
spot.
equal in it.
Every
Well,
lake in
well,
Connecticut,
well,
and
well,
Massachusetts.
hold on,
and
we're getting a little out of hand here, this
Yeah,
is
right,
our
okay.
public comment session,
Right.
I understand exactly what Mr. Woodward
Yeah,
said.
no.
Do you have a,
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I'm the vice president of the board.
Yep.
And,
Hickory Hills Board.
yes, Hickory Hills Board, sorry. We're actually starting to do a whole bunch of stormwater testing in all places, so we will be comparing as well, because we're trying to pinpoint why we're getting so much phosphorus in the lake.
now, how is your testing, my question would be, how's your testing going about? Are you hiring a firm that comes out and does all of it? Do you have private collectors?
So we.
Because from what I understand, when you test the water around town, there's a very strict process to get accurate test results.
So, some volunteers have been trained to take the samples and then they're sent to a lab to be.
State certified lab?
You know what?
It has to be, although samples.
Yes, I was gonna say it has to be, Mr.
Well, I
Wayne.
mean, you don't have, there are out there, but if you get one that's not state certified, and I say that the DEP, it goes in the trash barrel.
I wanna just say I'm sure it is, but I don't wanna say that, but, because I don't wanna say something wrong, but it's Neshoba Analytics, if that helps.
Yeah, they're good.
Yes.
Who are your testers?
Just a group of us who are, we work with a consultant,
Yes.
TRC group, and we have a particular consultant that works with us, and he actually came to the lake and trained us. We also took a video so that, and then there's other people helping, but any group that goes out has one of those originally trained. So I'm one of them.
Okay. So somehow there's some sort of certification process to your sampling and testing procedure.
Yeah, it was hard last year because we have to have 3 days of dry and then, all of a sudden, so we haven't gotten as much as we want. But in answer to what you said, I wanted you to know that we're testing for a lot of things in the lake, algae,
Can we get a
phosphorus.
copy of that?
Yeah.
We had asked several times and we don't get copies of the testing.
Yeah,
I'd like to see one, yeah.
I'd like to know what's in the
I
lake.
mean, I'll certainly talk to the board about, I'm chair of the Lake Management
Correct.
Committee and stormwater's under that, so I can certainly see if we can share those
Okay,
findings.
so, yeah, and your expert that taught you should teach you what aesthetic things are. Like iron, manganese is aesthetic everywhere in the world except for Massachusetts.
Right, it's not
only for drinking
it's
for-
not
for
harmful,
baby.
it's more of a,
Yeah.
Nuisance.
right.
So it's aesthetic things. There's a whole list of aesthetic things.
The main thing we're concerned about right now is algae, blue-green algae, because it shuts down our lake, E. coli, which also can shut down our lake, and any nutrients that are coming into the lake that, in general, we're not testing for.
So I know.
Any because of our weed problem.
Phosphorus.
I know in the past.
Phosphorus, thank you.
In the past, I used to, I don't know who
Dishwater.
had me do it, but I used to go and do bacteria
Washing
samples
machine,
at
soap,
Hickory Hills and
fertilizer.
Whale.
Yeah.
Oh, would you be willing to do that?
No.
We could work together.
Yeah, no. Only if the board told me to, but otherwise, no.
Yeah, I understand. But anyway, I just wanted you to know that. We're
No, I
not
understand.
just, yes, of course, we wanted to look at that site, but we look at a lot of sites.
I'm just making sure that there's some sort of certification process on your testing procedure, because I know I've tried to test my personal well at another location, and there's a time frame that water has to get from
Yeah.
sample,
Yep.
so there's gotta be some sort of,
Yes, we know,
very important to
we do
get accurate
know all
testing.
that stuff, and believe me, we scramble, because again, it's volunteers, so we have to find someone, if we're gonna do a test, who can then
Yep.
do
So
what
it's
they
kind
have
of
to
funny,
do.
I remember doing the one at Hickory Hills. There was another guy with me, and I had my fire boots on to go out to do the sample.
Can't have your
And,
fiber.
the sample bottle comes with the powder in it.
Yeah.
And so the guy's like, there's something in it, so he's got his hand in there. I'm like, you just ruined the whole bottle.
Yeah, and we have some bottles that have nothing, some that have something, we pour from another bottle, so I'm not saying there might be things I don't know, but we really have been trained well.
Good.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
could I ask a couple of questions? I'm not as sharp as I used to be, and I want to understand who the players are. You're the vice chairman and you're the chairman?
No.
No.
Two totally different organizations.
And now we have a third,
Nope, she's just a citizen.
She's a private citizen.
But on a committee.
but on a committee
Separate committee.
representing people at Hickory Hills.
A group of interested residents of Hickory Hills, yes.
Okay. You understand,
So, just so you know,
sure.
Hickory Hills Lake Incorporated, I am the vice chair of that.
Okay.
And Jones Group is a total.
Just the Woodlands trustees.
Just the
Yeah,
Woodlands.
Just the Woodlands
Yeah.
trustees.
Because this gets kind of confusing. you know?
Sure.
That's why I was
That's why we're
clarifying.
making sure we get it right in the minutes.
Watch the video.
One further question, are you taping this meeting?
No, I'm just playing around because I get
That's fine,
antsy.
and I want to make sure.
Totally
taping this
legit.
meeting.
No, I'm literally like
right.
moving my finger on things because I
That's
don't
fine,
sit
and
still.
certainly as you're right, but in a situation like this, you have to announce that you're taping,
Yes.
and everybody here has the right to receive a copy of that. For the record, I just
Yep.
wanted to know.
Yep, no.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no
Appreciate it.
worries.
Okay. Any other public comment? Just, Ms. Walsh, to your comments before, we don't know the exact route that we're following, so we can't say right now we're pumping X amount. The plan is going to modify. We just don't have any of that information back yet. And we have other things to deal with, so. All right.
All right.
Any other public comment?
I make a motion, we adjourn.
All right, thank you, John.
I'd second.
Okay.
I've got that flat right there.